Hello, folks, and welcome to episode 95 of the Social Liability Podcast, the podcast where we discuss those folks in our lives that violate the social contracts that we all agree to live by. I am your host, The Raspberries, with my co host, The Buck, bringing you the new and interesting stories from the far reaches of the internet. Buck, so you were rapid firing me these things last night. Did you read any of them?
Briefly.
I think we go to the lie detector and
No. I'm not sitting here saying that I could write you a fucking report on them. I can't even remember half the headlines. But I went through and I was like, man, not clickbaity. Man, not clickbaity. Man, not clickbaity. Half the stigma of this show for me is the fact that, even though I submit most of these articles, it's as you read them, it's like a fresh start. It really is. I forget the shit half the time. It's like I'm Dory the fish. It's like, man. So, no, I didn't like comb through it and like find all the hard to pronounce names like a good producer would. Like, no. But, I tried to make sure that they were like, you know, germane to the topic.
well, we're going to start out with ABC7 Chicago. Police offered teen McDonald's in exchange for confession to crime someone else committed. Labeled as a would be murderer, 15-year-old Martell Williams said he spent 2 nights last week in lockup at the police department. He was wrongfully accused of shooting local dollar store employee in the face on February 4th. Surveillance photos of the suspect were released by the police department in the immediate aftermath of the shooting. Officers said that multiple people came to him and said it was me. Uh, the high school freshman, who was also on the basketball team, was confirmed to be at a game in Lincolnshire at the time of the shooting. A time-stamped photograph provided by family helped to clear him, but the damage was already done. Williams was pulled out of class in front of all of his classmates. The dean came down and got me and walked me to her office. And once I reached her office, there were two police officers. As soon as I got in, they didn't tell me anything. They didn't say anything to me. They just said, "You're under arrest." Flanked by his mother and his attorney this morning, Williams said officers offered him McDonald's in exchange for a confession. He didn't know what he was being accused of. They didn't even tell him it was a shooting that was involved. They just said, "Hey, wasn't your fault. Just tell us you were defending yourself. Just go ahead and tell us you were there, and we'll let you go home." And Williams' attorney said the teenager's record has been expunged and has been calling for an immediate public apology that will clear the teenager's name before he goes back to school on Tuesday. This is a continuing and ongoing problem. The Department of Justice has been here, yet this is still going on, and there are still false confessions being brought in. The city is reviewing the case, but cannot make further comment at this time. Uh, in a statement from the city. The city has been in contact with the juvenile's family and their attorney. And while the police department would not directly address what happened with Williams, a spokesman for the department said an investigation into who actually shot the dollar store employee has continued. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're still looking for the fucker, even though you fucking arrested the wrong one.
Man, so first off, let me just highlight the fact that they really got to up their ante. I mean, like they're only offering a cheeseburger for a murder confession. Like they gotta steal a page out of the book from those fellas who were stealing drug money. From those fellas that were like robbing the armored cars, like the police department who was taking the money from the armored cars. It's like they need to get in on that pony because a cheeseburger ain't gonna get it. And all comedy aside, though, like when you accuse somebody of something, like it doesn't matter whether you're fucking guilty or whether you're innocent or whether you were even there. The second you get brought out of your fucking school in handcuffs and everybody's going around and the rumor gets out that you're accused of a murder, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You're done.
Doesn't matter. Yep. Doesn't matter whether you're guilty or not. Doesn't matter whether the police come out and outright say, "Oh, it's a public apology, this and that and the other thing." There are always going to be people who look at you as a fucking murderer. And you know what? It's so terrible that, the police just go in there guns a-blazing and just, you know, literally just destroy this kid's life. I
See,
mean, because that's in effect what they've done. Just completely ruined them.
the worst kind of evidence you can possibly have in any case, any case, is eyewitness testimony. Because eyewitness testimony is some of the most flawed, nonsensical evidence you could possibly have. One of the things they typically used to do, I'm not sure if they still do it now, but they used to do in police academies, was when they start talking about eyewitnesses, at some point during the class, somebody would bust into the room, uh, come running through the room, do something like completely just bizarre, and then run out of the room. And then they would say, take out a piece of paper, give me a description of the person you saw, what they are wearing, do not say a word, do not talk to anybody, fold that paper in half and send it forward. And then they would take and try to cobble together a description. And you would have 26 people in that room and 25 different descriptions of that person. Sometimes the clothes were like completely off. It's just eyewitness testimony is shit. The human brain fills in the gaps when we see things we don't understand. And, well, somebody said it was him. Well, what's their defense? Well, all black guys look alike. I mean, is that going to be their defense in this? You have to have
Well,
physical evidence on top of just, people say they saw a grainy fucking surveillance photo and said, hey, that's Buck.
well, I mean, even taking it down to something simpler. Take you and me, for example, and somebody does something and they're wearing, for instance, a green shirt.
Oh no, I'll one up you, Buck. How about a gray shirt? Because
Yeah.
how many times did people mix us up when we worked in the same department?
Well, I'm going by color blindness.
That
I
too.
don't even know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck green is. I know what gray is. I know what gray is. I can see that. I cannot see green. So, your testimony of a guy wearing a green shirt, and then they come up to me and they're like, "So the guy in the green shirt," I'm like, "What?"
There was
You
three
know,
of us. There was me, you, and Wilson. There was a Sergeant Wilson. The three of us, people interchanged us all the time. Why? Because we were white guys with goatees. You and I are the
I,
same.
I,
You and I are the same height. Wilson was like what, half a foot shorter than us? But people still mixed us up all the time.
I don't even understand how, because my ID photo should have really set me apart. But either way, I digress. I digress. I was the happiest person in prison, but again, we'll go back to the meat and potatoes here. Like, look what these people did to this poor kid, man. Like, look, just it's irreparable damage. And, you know, again, oh well, we're going to issue a formal apology. That
No, they
that
haven't
that
even
that
done that. They haven't even done that. The family is
well, they
asking for that.
well, right. Okay. So, even if they offer up this formal apology, like, you know what? Everybody hears that you were accused. Nobody gives a shit that you're innocent. Like, people will listen to the bad news. Everybody hears the bad news. A very small percentage of people, comparatively speaking, hear the good news afterwards. And that's just it.
I understand
They own.
I understand having to, you want to get a murderer off the street, and some people they're saying, hey, this is the guy, this is the dude, and they're trying to solve the case. They're trying to do their job, but you can't just snatch somebody up uh, on a whim and then offer them a goddamn cheeseburger for a confession. Let alone the fact that you can't question a goddamn minor without his parents.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's all sorts of stuff that they just completely screwed the pooch on here. I'm gonna go ahead and just label these guys as I don't even know. I'm nobody died, but
But if this is the way they handle their cases, how many people have gone to jail when they didn't have to?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and score him as a 5.
Indeed. Our next story comes from Cairo 7. This is a story actually out of Florida, and it may not be a man, but I think it still deserves it.
Florida man, does whatever the fuck he can. Makes headlines every time. Florida's paradigm. Look out! Here comes Florida man.
Indeed, here comes Florida woman as a lawyer stripped naked at the Florida bar and refused to put on clothes. A Florida lawyer is facing charges after deputies say she took off her clothes in a bar while drunk. In her arrest affidavit, Pinellas County Sheriff's deputies said Kelly Elkins was at a beach bar and drunk to the point where the manager refused to serve her. Investigators say Elkin went to the bathroom and came back out completely naked. And she refused to leave when the manager asked her to. At that point, that's a draw. Hey. Bar employees asked Elkins to get dressed multiple times, according to the affidavit, and then escorted her out of the bar and told her to put pants on. Defendant refused, stating she was too tired. Too tired for pants. Several people were inside Beach Lounge and Billiards in Tampa when this happened at about 2:15 a.m. on Friday. Police said Elkins was arrested and brought to jail where she was charged with disorderly conduct. Elkins is listed as a member in good standing of the Florida Bar on their website. Her LinkedIn page says she is a licensed attorney as well. I mean, what's the fact that she's an attorney have to do with getting drunk, getting naked? That's kind of like a clickbaity thing.
No, see, it is a little bit of a clickbaity thing, but I think I think we got something we can rattle on about here because, it sounds to me that, if I were to just like have to give like, my synopsis of this, it sounds to me more like she may have taken some meds and the alcohol may have interacted with them. Like she may have taken like, and like she may take like an anxiety med during court for something and then be like, oh my God, that was a really, really rough day. Yeah, I'll just go sink back a drink or two at the bar. And, all of a sudden a drink or two, she probably just got irresponsible as shit mixing meds with booze.
I think you're reaching, Buck. I think you're reaching.
I don't
think I am. Here's the thing. Alcohol makes some people allergic to clothing. It just does. We all know that one person that as soon as they get drunk, something's coming out. I mean, it just happens. So she got blitzed like any normal person could possibly conceivably do. And, she decided to walk around naked. What's it have? Why does it have any bearing on the fact that she's an attorney? Why are we looking up her LinkedIn profile? Why are we calling the bar association? Who gives a shit?
I think it gives me, people like me, the target of this kind of clickbait, something to speculate on.
Well,
because that's what I'm doing.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you know what, though? The thing is, though, is that whether it matters or not, there are people like me who are extremely and excessively bored, who've got nothing to do but solve problems that don't even exist. Like, here I am passing out the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, oh, yeah, she probably just had a rough day at work and had too many. And you're like, no, bitch got fucking drunk and just can't keep her clothes on. This is what makes it entertaining.
So.
They get the...
No, entertaining is the naked lady at the bar.
I don't know, man. What's her picture look like?
I don't know. I can look up LinkedIn, I guess.
Because I mean, like, if she's something that's easy to look at, you're like, oh, okay, free show. But if she's like a real swamp donkey, like you're like, no thanks. Just because it's free entertainment doesn't mean I necessarily want to take part in it, Like, it could be one of those.
I'd look at her naked. I'm looking at a picture right now. It's not horrible.
I think we're horrible. I think we're horrible, but
we probably are.
I think we're horrible. So either way, Either way, drunk lady at a bar, just having fun, takes off her
It's
pants.
2 a.m. There's no kids there. They're all
And you know
adults.
what?
They're all there for
It's 2 a.m. And
yeah.
her excuse does hold water. Whether or not it's rational or not, you definitely appear to be too tired to put on pants. I'm not going to argue with
It's
that,
two
but
in the
that doesn't
morning.
change
It's
the
at a
fact that
bar. Alcohol's involved. Nobody was hurt. She wasn't violent, and all she said she was too tired to put on pants. She gets a 1.
yeah, I know. Yeah, agreed, man. This is going to amount to nothing more than a great story at Thanksgiving. It's a
Oh,
1.